Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you everyone for your patience. I'm going to call to order this work session, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's January 10th, 2024. We have 3 items, and our first item relates to the continuation of our CATS contract. Thank you, CATS, as always. Ms. Purdy.
Yes, this is just some basic housekeeping, actually. This has already been approved by council and it's in our budget to pay. But this is our contract with the Monroe County Public Library, CATS, their Community Access Television Services Department specifically. And this states that we agree to pay a total of $300,930 over the calendar year of 2024. And those payments are made quarterly in the sum of $75,232.50.
Thank you so much. This is the best tool of one of the best tools of transparency we have in county government, and can't thank the staff at CATS enough for all that they do all the time. They helped us with a recording a speech last week, so they're just so helpful and so professional and so great, and I know the community appreciates CATS as well. Any other comments, Commissioner Jones?
No, just once again, thank you so much. We really do appreciate all you do for us and for the community. It's important that the community actually be able to find out what's going on in local government.
Commissioner Githens?
Well, it's not just our meetings in the county council, it's the new waste reduction district, it's the different boards and commissions that we have. So it's many, many things that they're here and always available and always professional.
That's great. Thank you so much. All right. Can you go ahead and make a motion, please?
I move approval of the 2024 agreement between Monroe County and Community Access Television. Fund name, County General, Fund number 1000 in the amount of $300,930.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. All right, seeing none, Ms. Purdy, would you call the roll on the CATS Services Agreement renewal?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you so much. All right, our next item is with planning. Mr. Myers with ordinance 2024-02, and that
is not right.
I'm not sure that that's the right number. We'll check on that.
Yeah.
The Worms Way rezone. Mr. Myers.
You're muted.
Ah.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. The ordinance number should be 2024-02. Is that what we have there?
But we already passed one in that number.
Well,
I thought that was
it might have been a resolution,
I'm
but
sorry.
that's okay. We'll look into it.
Okay, well, I'm now sharing the screen. Can you see that on your end?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yes, since this is a work session, I'll be just doing a brief summary of what's going on here.
Could you
and then
zoom the screen? Could you zoom the document bigger so
Yes.
that zoom in so that it's like 100? Yeah. Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Better?
That's great. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. So as I was saying, there will be a more detailed presentation for the formal session when we select to have that. So I'll just be doing a quick summary of this petition here to this today. It's at 7850 North Wayport Road. It's the former Worms Way site. There's 2 parcels under consideration here, Lot A and Lot B of the Worms Way Type A subdivision. It's currently zoned agricultural rural reserve, and the comprehensive plan designates it as rural residential. So the summary here is the petitioner is seeking to rezone the property at this address from agricultural rural reserve to pre-existing business. The subject property includes 6.65 acre lot A and a 6.21 acre lot B of the subdivision I described. Originally, this parcel was developed per a 1995 special exception for agribusiness and commercial greenhouse that allowed the establishment of Worms Way. The 1995 special exception was approved by the County Plan Commission as well as the Board of Zoning Appeals in 1995. And since then, it has operated as Worms Way until the business left the property. And then since that time, it's maintained a vacancy. There have been several cases for the reuse of the site. As you can see on the screen, we've had several variance applications as well as rezone applications. So in 2019, we had a use variance application to add metal fabrication as a use to the site. That was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, but a commercial site plan was never submitted by the property owner. Then in 2021, we had a rezone request from Ag-RR to light industrial, and that was ultimately denied by the county commissioners in October of 2021. So you're somewhat familiar with this site. 2022, we saw a pair of use variances for general contractor. Both of those were denied by the Board of Zoning Appeals. The application was amended and resubmitted, but again, it was denied by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Most recently, we have a 2023 Planned Unit Development Outline Plan application. Basically, this one was to establish a PUD on the site to allow for a select set of uses that were available to the Ag-RR district, the general business district, light industrial, heavy industrial, those types of uses. As you can see on the screen, that was religious facilities, pet services, furniture sales, transfer storage terminal, general contractor, metal fabrication, which was already permitted under the variant use variance in 2019, warehousing, and distribution. Planning staff had recommended denial, and after several meetings with the Plan Commission, the property owner and applicant decided to withdraw the petition in September of 2023. Which brings us to this application today, which is applying for a rezone from Ag-RR to pre-existing business. Okay, so a little bit about the pre-existing business district. It's a unique district. We don't typically see rezone requests to this district because its main use is to apply to businesses that were in prior existence before the 1997 zoning amendment. So basically, the use classification of agribusiness and commercial greenhouse does not appear in the zoning ordinance tables. That would be Chapter 802 or 833. Therefore, planning determined that the best fit use that meets the same definition of agribusiness commercial greenhouse would be what's called commercial facilities for the sale, repair, and service of agricultural equipment, vehicles, feed, or supplies. Now, that use is considered a high-intensity use, and normally with a pre-existing business zoned property, you are allowed to operate under the general business or the limited business uses that matches its intensity of the prior use of the site. So the prior use of the site was considered this commercial facilities type use. So therefore, if the property is rezoned to pre-existing business, they would be eligible for any of the uses that are permitted under general business or limited business that are determined as high intensity, medium intensity, or low intensity. I also have some exhibits here of the original zoning map, pre-1997 and post-1997. Come back to any of these, but basically there are some pre-existing business sites identified in the area. The star on the screen is the petition site, and it's zoned agricultural at the time. And then after the 1997 adoption of the ordinance, it remained as agricultural rural reserve and did not transition into pre-existing business. So here's that map here. The pink up here are some pre-existing business sites. Some of the parcels that were operating under Oliver Winery are up here. I think some of these are Cook sites that were operating at the time as well. As for the rationale as to why the county commissioners and the planning commission did not select this site to become a pre-existing business site at the adoption of the 1997 ordinance is unknown to staff. Basically, through looking through minutes and things, it is our best judgment that due to the 1995 special exception, that it was left off from rezoning because the site was operating fine as a business, as the Worms Way business activity under the Ag-RR district with the special exception from 1995. I think that covers most of the high-level information for the site. I can go ahead and open it for questions.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions? Let's start with Commissioner Githens, because your time is limited.
Thank you. Do you have any notion as to exactly what type of business they're planning to have go in there? I guess I'm concerned about the intensity.
Sure. So staff doesn't know of a specific use that they're seeking at this time. The most recent specific use that they were seeking was general contractor from another local business that was looking to move to the site to operate as a general contractor. Other than that, staff is unsure of what specifically will go in here. Most of the conversation is centered around just marketing the site and getting it sold to a new user.
But is there a way to keep it with a rezone to keep it from being high intensity use?
I believe that the commissioners do have the ability to offer conditions of approval. The Plan Commission voted 6-2 to forward this with a no recommendation, meaning that there was no recommendation offered. And there were no conditions of approval established during that review period. But I believe it is under the commissioner's authority to offer conditions of approval as well. And that could be something that is included, is that no uses of high intensity are allowed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
I think I need to think about this some more before I comment on it.
Okay. Yeah, so this was unable to get a positive or negative vote of sufficient number at the Plan Commission meeting, so that's the decision was made to go with a no recommendation, which tells you, gives you a sense of how the discussion was intense and it was long lasting. I would ask Mr. Myers on the first page of the actual packet, if you could update the information at the bottom of page 1 regarding to ensure that the staff recommendation is in there, and then to kind of update where things are. I think it's an older version of where things were at with the petition. So we just need to update that timeline a little bit. That would be really helpful.
Can you do that?
Yeah, and the issue that arises is with the residents of Windsor Estate, and the other issue that arises is that this property has septic. It is not on a sewer line, so anything that happens there is going to have to take that into account, and the residents are well organized, and they are very clear in their concerns and about this property. I think what's unfortunate is that while the property owner has gone to the assessor to receive a reduction in the value of the property listing has not reflected that reduction in value. So I think it's one of those things that happens with assessing, but it's rather unfortunate. But I think there is quite a bit to talk about with this. We would be, I think we should wait until the first meeting in February to deal with this, because we may want to communicate with planning before that if there are some conditions. What do you think about that, Commissioner Githens?
That's fine. I glanced over this before our meeting, but I would like to do a deeper dive into this.
Sure. Okay. So let's get this on an agenda for February, Mr. Myers, if you don't mind. And in the meantime, we may have you back. We may invite you back for another work session to talk about this if we have some things that we want to talk through with you. Would that suffice?
Okay. Yes, that works for me.
Okay, great. And then we're still within the 90 days of the original hearing. So, okay, great. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Of course. Yes, thank you.
All right. And we have one more item from Ms. Ridge regarding change order and community crossings and
I'll be really quick. I was going to put this on for next week, but if I can go ahead and put it on the 24th to codify it at that time, but it keeps our end moving. This is actually a change order for Bicentennial Pathway. I believe it's change order number 1. It should be the only one. When we originally had the project with NDOT, there's a different level of pavement materials called QAQC that is utilized in those contracts. Since the paving of the main road, the main line, was outside of that project, we typically use an HMA type B. So we asked for the exception for the surface within the NDOT contract match what we would be laying with our overall paving project, so it would match up better. We would not have a center line, different things and it'll help with the longevity of the road. So it actually is a deduction of $21,558.70 that we would be putting towards the contract.
$21,558 and 21 cents.
70 cents.
70 cents. Thank you. Okay. And is that fund? Can somebody?
It's our grant fund, 8171.
Okay. Okay, great. So Commissioner Jones, would you make a motion?
I'd like to move approval of change order number 1 for the Bicentennial Pathway. Fund name. I don't have a fund name.
Bicentennial Pathway.
Okay, Bicentennial Pathway. Fund number 8171 in an amount of $21,558.70.
And that is a negative.
Oh, and that's the negatives.
Right. That's
yes.
Yeah.
I'll second the savings. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a credit. Okay, great. Any public comment on this item? Raise your hand on Teams or come up to the podium and Nat, you Hill. Seeing none, Ms. Purdy, would you call the roll on the change order number 1?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
And we'll go ahead and put that on the agenda for ratification on January 24th.
Correct.
Thank you. Next.
The only other item is if I could retrieve your signatures. We went to the council last night. They approved of providing our match, I believe from the rainy day fund of $1.5 million for our community crossing application. And then we are required with our application to put in a financial commitment letter from our commissioners. So I'm asking to retrieve those signatures so we could submit that in the next week.
Sounds good. We don't need a motion on that, do we, Ms. Purdy? No.
Is that this?
No, this is the salary thing from earlier. Okay, so Commissioner Githens, are you okay signing this letter? Oh, she's frozen. She's frozen.
I am.
You are, I am. We're good. We'll sign it. We'll offer Commissioner Githens an opportunity to sign it as well. And then I imagine she would be very happy to, just knowing what we've all said about how much we appreciate getting community crossings grants. And, you know, I love to brag on you. Every year you get it. And it's a yes, but if you don't apply, you don't win. So having that trove of projects just in the pipeline ready to go is really important. So certainly appreciate that, and I'm glad the council found the money yesterday. That was really important, so I was glad to see that happen, so appreciate that. All right, anything else for our work session? All right, with that, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Katz. Thank you, TSD.